Thanks. Okay. Seems like, not to say this will happen, but just tapping into the Russia and China situation and potential of any type of war. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but obviously there's a lot of discussions about it. Nobody's ready for that. I mean, they might be preparing. China is definitely preparing. You never know. It doesn't mean it'll be World War III, but and China's economy is not doing so great either. Oh yeah, this is another thing. Doesn't mean this will happen, but because the U.S. election and everything, and Biden's not doing so great, you know, U.S. might, who knows, they might try to screw around with China just to cause some difficulties there because they're not getting what they want, like to keep the democratic connection going on. So it's just good, the food for thought. Let's put it that way. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but I can see the U.S. doing that though, because it's just a bully basically. So at least that side is. So yeah, it's just, I mean, it's good to keep an eye open or ear open or whatever it might be of certain conflicts because you never know. Of course, the news is always, the news organizations are like attorneys, are like lawyers. They just have to, they just fend for themselves, trying to build themselves up. News organizations just love this stuff. It's so gross. It's just so fucking gross. But yeah, China is definitely, and Russia definitely building an alliance. But like I say, China's economy is not great either. So it just feels like it's just talk behind the scenes. Of course, there's also Taiwan. That might not even happen. Uh, it's on the table, but doesn't mean it's going to happen though. So they're just all preparing to blow each other up, basically. Yeah, it's definitely in behind the scenes. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but nothing we can do about it, really. Nothing you have to think about, really. But it is happening behind the scenes. But it doesn't mean that they're going to just rip each other apart and everything like that. But it does have a weird energy with our election cycle going into next year. How the Democratic Party is going to, if they see themselves going to lose, they have to do something to, offset, make themselves feel better about themselves. Like I said, it doesn't mean it'll work, but you never know. Well, the whole Russian thing's happening, so, but it doesn't mean it'll go beyond that. It feels like it's just threats currently. So, like I said, we're just tapping into it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's just a bunch of hot air in the background. But it is good to be aware of that energy, as the rest of it would care less, right? Until it happens. It's like, oh wait, it's just sometimes it's good to know about this type of stuff. It's just good to have, not to be completely naive and shut down and shut off from the rest of the world. Especially those that are developing their abilities and everything. Yeah, there's obviously nothing you can do about it. You can't worry about it. It's not worth it. Yeah, just drive yourself crazy. But they are trying to bring in those timelines, like World War III timeline. Russia is only because they're getting tired of being picked on by the U.S. And they don't care anymore. So there is taking time bomb energy. Like I said, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just they're, you hear about the war drums. They're going to keep hearing it for a while until when is not known. Maybe a couple of years from now. Yeah, if the Ukraine-Russian war ends, because that is still kind of a big deal. It is affecting us, at least gas prices wise, or energy prices, because it's done by manipulation. So, but either way, just deal with it. But yeah, the Middle East wants nothing to do with it. Just picked up on that. So yeah, China and Russia are definitely building up forces together, but yeah, I don't think the U.S. would win that. Well, it'd be ugly. Let's put it that way. I don't think anybody would win. Actually, everybody will lose. When you think about it. So, so anyway, yeah, it just feels like just a bunch of talk right now, but it is happening behind the scenes. So, at least the conversation they're taking it seriously behind the scenes. And the U.S. is not ready. And yeah, they did say something about bringing back the draft and everything. I think they'll do that if they absolutely have to. But of course, we've heard that during the Iraq War too. So this is a lot different. Yeah, this right now it's just a possible timeline that a door, like a doorway, that keeps opening up, trying to come through. But it shows you like how other worlds work. Think about if it does happen, like how another version of Earth will allow it to happen. Ouch, it won't be pretty. And then all of a sudden you have like a zeta reality. The nuclear, they just nuke each other, and all of a sudden everyone looks like a zeta being. Let's to give you a perspective of that. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen here, but yeah, we're in some unknown territory for sure. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's going to happen here, but let me tell you, they're definitely pushing it. That's for sure. So it's not. I mean, yeah, this world has enough problems as it is. It's not getting anywhere. That's for sure. I don't say what 2025 is supposed to be at a higher frequency. I mean, some might say that there will some have issues. That's not going away. Well, if it was going away, you would see everybody hugging and kissing each other at this point. Is it just going to just change like right before 2025? Is that how it works? Or the solar flash comes in and just saves everybody? Yeah, the savior mentality. It's funny thing about the savior mentality, how true that really is. It's not everybody, but it's a good amount. Yeah, the truth hurts, huh? Yeah. So anyway, not to go into the alien savior energy, but yeah, the alien energy is perspective from the future, just from an alien frequency. Um, yeah, the current conflict there, and just anything they have to say. Now, who will be? We'll just leave it open. He says the future human. We'll just say it. We'll just connect to the alien consciousness and see who comes through on that one. And time travel or energies. It's funny. I saw a thing on. I think it was called Synchronicity. I haven't seen it yet all the way, but how it's interesting. Time travel is created, then somebody tries to buy it, and then there's corruption, and then you connect to an. I forget it was. I haven't seen it yet, but you connect to another. You go through time. And you connect to a time where there's another version of yourself, and you start to. I guess you become weakened or something happens to you because there's another version of yourself there, which is interesting. So, all right, yeah, that's different perspective for sure. So, all right, so I haven't taught economic professions. Scheduler, shop here, the webinar. Yeah, I'm not doing signups for the webinar anymore. It's just slowly on its way out. Social network behind the scenes. Just a reminder there. Yeah, this is just something to tap into for the Russia thing. I guess I'm not trying to say it's going to happen or anything like that. But it is out there, instead of running off into the spirit realms and getting lost and everything, reality is still here. It's not going anywhere. as much as many do try to escape it. So, yeah, of course, the news organizations like Chicken Little Energies and so on. So, okay, all right, blessings. Green uses the collective consciousness of Russia, China, and the United States. Yes, they're not getting along with each other. It's like an odd couple that, yes, it's almost, you say, from a kindergartner's point of view, they all want something from each other and they're not getting what they want. So they're arguing, trying to ruin each other. It is very juvenile. But yes, it's good to take these things seriously, but it has a juvenile energy connected to it, especially the US, because the US feels like it has everything. It's like the rich person that feels like it's everything's owed to them and everything. It's kind of like a dictatorship, as some of you have noticed, at least portions of it. Not everybody's like that. So it's obviously the dark side CIA energies that goes into that. Well, they just, yeah, addicted to power. And eventually a lot of this will come out in whistleblower testimony of how corrupt the US is. It's just obvious when they try to do it, they don't last very long. There's a deeper root there, as some of you have noticed. It's just not time for it to come out just because many are keeping it quiet. Not to say China and Russia don't have their issues. They do. Of course, everything does. But the US has a bigger chip on its shoulder. Well, what's the saying? Power. So they're trying to figure out a way how to do it. Yes, will war in China and Russia work with that? Not likely. Well, basically, if that happens, all of them will go down. I mean, it won't be completely gone, but yeah, it's not. No one's going to win at all. And you can say that's kind of the point. So that's why it hasn't occurred. Does this benefit anybody? No. Well, it is a wake up call and it is a reset. So it doesn't mean it'll be a nuclear war. No, but either it's still going to be bad if it does occur. Now, is it going to occur? Well, there are, yes, discussing it. They're fighting among each other. Spies are everywhere. Probably more spies than ever been before, even probably more in World War II. Only because the U.S. has become extremely paranoid. Well, like I said, this is more of the dark side, not necessarily. The U.S. has a light and dark side. So the dark side of the U.S. has just became very paranoid. It is weakening. The dark side is not weakening completely, but it is weakening. It has, just trying to keep up appearances like everything is fine, but it really isn't. And it's just that many are losing confidence in the darkness, and it's like a dark empire. It's something that you would see out of a children's movie, or it's very extreme, as some of you can tell. It's just not shown on the surface of its extreme. Well, it is to a certain level. Yeah, as they're going after people taking away their rights. And this is in the US. In some ways, the US, yes, is becoming worse than China in a lot of ways due to its power grab. It's just getting desperate. At least, like I said, the dark side is doing that. Of course, there's a strong, powerful light side within the US. You can say it's both equal, actually. Just you always hear about the dark side and the light. So, but as for China and Russia energies, Russia does not want a war. China does and does not. Russia only does it if it absolutely has to. Russia knows it will lose, but then again, nobody's going to win. But China will, if it'll defend itself. Let's put it that way. If anything occurs, so there is itchy trigger fingers out there, especially the U.S. But it's like no one's really, fired the first shot. Look at it that way. That's why it hasn't happened. I mean, yes, they have the Russia conflict in Ukraine, but that's not really connected to the whole China and U.S. So even if there was a fire shot, doesn't mean it'll be actual war. So it's just food for thought. Those timelines are trying to come in. Doesn't mean that to be successful. The aliens are assisting, but once again, you saw 2020 happen. Aliens can't be successful in everything. They can't save you forever everything. So, I mean, they are assisting, but they can't, dictate your future. Yes, you can keep nuclear weapons to a bay, but even there, they can't always do it forever. Humanity has to take responsibility for itself eventually. It's kind of isn't. Of course, many here do not want war, obviously. Of course, you see the energies in Africa and how that's been divided and ruined, and so many directions that there will be a timeline where Africa and other countries similar to it that will find redemption and rebuilding, but not in this current state. But also, the British Empire has to lose its power for Africa to regain its abilities because it is suppressing it. UK is not, the UK government, the shadow government is suppressing, well, for minerals and every power and just many different things. It's horrible. They know what they're doing. Well, let's put it this way: if your suspicions there's something not right there. You're probably right. Will they ever remove the monarchy in UK? Not yet, but there's always a timeline for that. You're not there yet, but there's always a possibility of it. Doesn't mean it'll occur. So just realize So as for the war between these three countries, currently it is unlikely, but some of you are feeling the intent to light that match and start it, but you are being assisted behind the scenes to stop it at the same time. So if anyone would start it, it'd probably be, like I say, more of the dark side of the US, not the light side. Light side has nothing to do with this. It's more of the dark side of the US wants to just fake to cause some kind of, a conspiracy to, begin the war with China. But right now, it is being stopped on so many different levels. But it's getting close, but it's not there, and most likely it won't occur. But realize those timelines can shift. But at least you're seeing what's happening. Those of you that are interested, let's put it that way. So, but it is of concern. It doesn't mean you have to let it hover over you, get depressed about it. You don't have to do that, but just realize, it's like, you can tap into it and see, there's reptilian energies there trying to cause it. Well, they push humanity. They're there to test you. They're there to push you to see where you'll go. And yes, it might be a negative side of them, but also as a teacher's side, there's this thing, how far will you go to destroy yourselves? So society here is so far surviving. So that shows there is hope within this world. So that's good. It's not, if humanity was completely drowned out with negativity, it would be over by now. But so there is the prosperity here, the positivity here still exists. It does get tested a lot, but there's still hope here, you can say. Well, yeah, you can, however you want to look at that, but there's still a future here. Let's put it that way. Greens, we have the Arcturians, alien from the future. Frequencies, of course, we do connect to your future human energies, but basically from our perspective, from your future energies, basically there is more Asian energies in your future, but more for positivity. Basically, like culture becomes more united here on the planet. Doesn't mean it becomes an Asian planet, but just like more peace and prosperity finds its way across the world eventually. But with all this being the Earth being pushed to its brink, of course you haven't not seen that to its full extent. It hasn't quite gotten to that level, but you are seeing there. Well, it's like when when a country runs out of money, or things aren't going too well, you have to improvise. Cause some trouble. So that's what's happening currently. Both always, China and US aren't exactly doing so well. So there's just that, but there is a reset coming in. Doesn't mean it'll be what you think it is, though. Doesn't mean it'll be war, no, but there is a reset of culture change. It hasn't really showed itself yet. But it will, and probably in the next few years. It's not clear exactly when, but in the next few years, we feel like you're starting to see it. It'll still be very much in its infancy, but just that Right now, many are not everybody, but a good amount is holding on to technologies and all that. More become more reliant on themselves, their abilities. Of course, society does it already, just not aware of it. It's just that you'll see, technology is going to be, not as reliant as it is now. Yes, you'll still use it, but many are like obsessed with it, like their phones are like obsessed. I can't live without this thing. And I feel like addiction energy will cease to a certain level, not completely. It's always something that, well, they can't get a relationship to work. At least they can get their phone to work. They can get their family life to work. They can't get anything to work. At least they can get your car, your home, whatever it is. They'll find something else to create a relationship with. Just look at it that way. Because that sounds kind of, yeah, well, sometimes that's the best. I mean, this is why so many fall in love with like android beings or robot beings because they can't really get along with society. So, but as for technologies, as for the android energies, and that's still in its infancy. Also, we just see those that are spiritually connected will heal a lot of technologies around them and connect more with themselves, which they are now. But you'll see that more in the future. Well, because telepathic energies will increase. Like I've said, for those that are in tuned already, we'll see more of an influx of their abilities increasing. Rest of society would just think you're all crazy because that's just the way it is here. Well, even those that are connecting more to their abilities, you're going to realize how the world, yes, many are just stuck in their own ways. It's just the way it is. They're not interested in higher dimensional energies. Yeah, they're humans here. They just want to live their human life and not worry about spirit beings. Yeah, they know it exists at a certain level or don't care. But either way, that's why you are here to help that. Like, not everybody has to be a medical doctor. Not everybody here has to be a spiritual teacher, but those of you who are adapting to these higher dimensional energies are here to help society that doesn't care about these things. Look at it that way. Yes, and stopping World War III at the same time. And others, yes, can care less about World War III, but some of you are here is like, okay, let's just make sure that doesn't happen. This world still has purpose. If sometimes you wonder, but it still has purpose. It's just corruption here. Well, the thing is, the corruption on the planet is getting so just vulgar, just really despicable. And it's like, why is this even here? Well, it's showing the insecurity of that energy and just showing that just obviously they don't want to, that type of darkness doesn't want to heal itself. It just wants to win. And it's a sore loser. Greece, this is time traveler. Frequencies. Some of you guys see the future or several different futures. You might not necessarily need to see the main future. Well, yes, and it's not always that exciting. So you might see like a Armageddon future. It's like, well, that's educational. But if you look at the future of the Earth, it's like, well, that's pretty dull. It's constructive dullness, but it's still dull, as usual. Word. Well, yes, the world has to go slow. You see all the agendas here, all the agendas here to slow you down, to cause chaos, disruptions. That's what slows everything down. You remove all of that, you move quicker. So it's just so many being well, it's like not that they're holding you back, it's just that it's like universities, like schools, like here's another test, here's another one, here's another one. Oh, here's a quiz, a pop quiz, here's this. So you have all of that packing in on your society. Not everybody, but a good amount. A death in the family, you know, children issues, so on and so on. Human trafficking energy that won't. Human trafficking energy is not going to leave this world. No, because that's there to challenge society. When humanity, basically humanity has to think differently. It's like, are we falling for the same thing over and over again? And that's already been discovered. It's like, yes, trying not to do that. And the idea is to not fall for the same, challenges over and over again. Learn from those challenges and move forward. And then you'll see your Earth start to heal, and human trafficking will pretty much vanish from this planet. It's just there to keep. I mean, human trafficking exists for several different reasons. One can is it can because it can hide in the shadows because there's so much, darkness here. But as you bring it more of a light, basically just balancing, basically just fixing the planet. It's not necessarily going to be like extremely positive, but at least it's think of it as you're healing the war zone, or it's just not it's like you can have a desert land but no conflict. It's like, yeah, it's not perfect. So I have weather issues. We have this, we have that, but there's no conflict. That's what you're working on. So you can just think more clearly, change the energies of the earth. Yeah, the earth can shift realities for a better tomorrow. So it's just basically it's like you're realize well you're already doing this now, and some are doing that. I don't believe in any of the spiritual work, but you're just basically as you've probably heard, humanity is so not everybody, but a good amount is not learning from history, so repeating it on and on. And that's what you're here to do. Just basically just you know bring more of that forward of where you don't have to go through these challenges and you might see others going through those challenges and you just become a more patient about it and just the challenges come less and less and less frequent here and the world begins to see itself. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're done with that lesson or those million lessons that we went through. And then Earth, the university, doesn't have it still exists, but not as it used to be. So it's just a world of chaos right now. But that's what you're here to diagnose, heal, and help us find some calm on the way. Blessings.